I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. The Michigan Taiwanese American Organization, or MiTAI, brings cultural awareness and artistry to our local community through breathtaking performances. Like recently, when Amazing Taiwan stunned audiences at Myers Auditorium on the campus of Huron High School.
Let's welcome the National Taiwan University of Sport as they bring you the unforgettable cultural experience of Amazing Taiwan.
Is going to demonstrate Taiwan's culture and tell the Taiwan stories through art.
I'm very happy to have this opportunity to come Michigan and Arbor to perform the culture of Taiwan. And I hope you enjoy our performance, and we are very happy to be here. It's the first time our group come to Michigan. And this time we will show the warm hospitality of Taiwan to everybody in Michigan. I hope you enjoy tonight.
Music and dance is very famous in Taiwan. There's a common language because between the people. It's beyond the border of different countries. And through this kind of dance and performance, I think we can more understand each other.
So this time we want to show the youngest and the passion of Taiwan.
I hope that this kind of a show can increase people-to-people relations between Taiwan, United States, and Michigan, and right here in Arbor.
For more on the Michigan Taiwanese American Organization, visit mitaiaa.weebly.com. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with more in exactly 30 seconds. Four months out of the year, a local musician shares the power and serenity of the drums during the drum and dance jams at Interfaith Center for spiritual growth.
We're having a fabulous drum circle with Curtis Glatter, who is a skilled musician, drummer, professionally trained, and he has a very artistic temperament.
The purpose is basically to enjoy the art of drumming, the fun of drumming, and also to maybe relieve a little stress. Drumming is a language, as much as English is a language, as much as all other languages.
It was amazing how all our little parts joined together to become something magnificent.
It's a great activity, no matter what your experience, because you can come in here with no knowledge of drumming. It does improve memory, cognition. It improves not just longevity of life, but also levity, as in positive feelings in everybody, not just yourself, but in everybody that's partaking in the drum circle.
The next drum and dance jam will take place at the Interfaith Center for Spiritual Growth on Saturday, June 7th from 7:30 to 9 p.m. The road is meant to be shared to keep motorists, cyclists, and pedestrians safe. We all need to play our part and pay attention to the signals and fellow travelers. Learn how to safely navigate city streets as a pedestrian in this month's City Roundup in 60.
I'm Sergeant Mark Pulford with the Ann Arbor Police Department. I'm here today to talk about pedestrian safety. Whether you're outside on a beautiful day like today, walking to class, or crossing the street to get to your favorite coffee shop, pedestrian safety is a shared responsibility. Here are a few simple tips to help keep you safe. The first one is always use a crosswalk. They're here for a reason, and they provide a space so that you can get across the street safer. Always look both ways. I know, it sounds simple, but don't rely on the traffic signals. Look what traffic's doing. Stay visible. Wear bright clothing, especially at nighttime, and make eye contact when possible with the drivers before you cross. Don't be distracted. Put your phone down, take out your earbuds. Obey the traffic signals. Pedestrian signals are there for a reason, and they help guide you across the street. Remember, we all share the roadway, so it's all of our responsibility. Thank you for listening today, and stay safe, Ann Arbor.
Social media can be a powerful tool, and one Michigan-based bookstore owner had the brilliant idea to get the community involved in moving locations, creating a book brigade. The accompanying TikTok video went viral, capturing the attention of the nation and putting a well-deserved spotlight on the independent bookseller. Joining me is Michelle Tuplin, owner of Serendipity Books. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's such a thrill.
I want to know more about you. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your passion for the written word? Well, how did you become a bookstore owner?
So it wasn't really planned. My friend owned Serendipity Books, and at the time Serendipity Books was just used books, and it was kind of a sleepy bookstore, and we were hanging out. We were doing a jigsaw puzzle together, and she said to me, "Hey, would you like to be a bookseller? Actually, would you like to buy half of the bookstore?" And I said, "Sure, that sounds great." So it was one of those things that, wasn't the best laid plans, but it's all worked out great.
When was this? How long ago was this?
This was in 2015. And
Okay.
then I'd always loved books, and I did a master's in creative writing, which was so fun. And it just tied in so many kind of different elements of my life. And that was a great thing. And then in 2017, I bought out my friend, and that's when the bookstore became mine entirely. And I kind of transitioned from all used books to new books as well.
Oh, so it's a mix. You get used and new.
Yeah. Yeah, now I think we're about 70% new, 30% used. Shortly after then, I became sole owner, and was just starting to figure things out. The pandemic hit. So nobody wanted really used books at that time. There was
Interesting. Yeah,
kind of
like other things really took hold. Like people really wanted vinyl records and stuff. So you think like used books would have been like a hot ticket item.
Yeah, you would have thought, and definitely now it is. But at that time, people were just kind of icked out, and they wanted the new, preferably in plastic wrap.
Oh, yeah. Well, out of curiosity, what were you doing before you became a bookstore owner? Because I think it's really neat that like people have other jobs in their first part of their careers, and they find something that really is exciting for them.
Yeah. So I stayed home with kids. I was home with kids for a long time. And I was that parent that read to my kids obsessively. So, half of the kids section, I've read those books out loud. And so it just was a great tie. And before that, I did marketing. I worked in marketing, and then kind of international. Actually, I met my husband. I was working at the United Nations in Vienna, can you believe, in Austria. So I've been all over the place, but Chelsea now, I've been in Chelsea for 30 years, and Chelsea's definitely home.
Wow, that's wild that like you could have such a, and like you never know where you're going to end up, like a place like Chelsea, and you now are a bookstore owner of all things.
Who would have thought?
Well, you guys recently moved locations, and this is where like this media firestorm started with this video that you made. Tell me about this idea for this book brigade and where it came from.
So I'd seen bookstores and libraries use this, where people literally stand in a line and pass books one by one. And there were certain elements that had to be in place in order to make it work. Like we couldn't cross a main street with a stop sign. We couldn't do it in January if it was going to be icy. So but actually everything lined up, and I guess the stars aligned, and I figured it was doable. Given our circumstances, it was doable, and we were going to give it a try. I still didn't know, even until that day, how many people would come, because we didn't want to do a sign up. I just wanted to make it as accessible for people as possible. And if somebody changed their mind or a thing happened, and they weren't able to make it, I didn't want people to feel like it was a big commitment. But if they were free, great, they could come be a part of this thing. But we had no idea what was going to happen, and then no idea about the all the fuss and attention afterwards either.
Yeah, you're like, this could be my own brigade. I'm just walking books from one location to another. You had no idea.
I mean, it was really complicated math. I was trying to figure out how many feet it was, what the sort of average arm span was, so how long it took to pass a book, then how many minutes it would take. And I kept getting completely different answers, so I kind of gave up on that and just hoped for the best.
How many people ended up showing up, or around about?
About 300.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. So we initially, people were stood. They were so tightly packed that everybody had to keep their elbows in like this and sort of pass the books like that. And so then we decided we needed 2 lines. So that's when you'll see on the video the sidewalk is lined and the 2 lines face each other. So that's when we split, and we decided to make these 2 lines. But that was complicated too, because kind of another reason we did this was because truly it was super helpful, because all the books were moved and remained in their categories. You can see in this this fake background I have behind me, this was in the old store, and these are the old categories that we had. So there's memoir, and I can't read backwards, there's memoir, science, and we wanted to pass them in those categories and still be alphabetized, so that it would make our sorting out in the new space significantly easier. And that's what we did. But when we did 2 lines, we had to be really careful to keep everything kind of in its right space.
Did it work?
It did. It was amazing. It did. We did it in, I think it was about an hour and 50 minutes. And everything was as it should be in the right section. And it was a glorious thing. It was so fun. Everybody was happy.
Oh, I mean, I can't imagine. It's like a party. You guys are like having a party.
We wanted music, so we had our music on in the new and the old store. But then I don't know who, but some people brought, I don't know, some devices to have music in the street in between 2. And there were kids singing, there were people dancing, and then there were people who had been strangers at the beginning who now were friends, swapping stories about what books are good and what books they didn't like so much, and what covers were great as the whole thing went along.
Do you find that some of the people were never even patrons of the bookstore and just came to support you?
So I knew many people, but there were also people who'd maybe brought their friend or their partner. And then there were people who were driving through Chelsea and saw this happening and stopped their car and came and joined in.
I mean, to me, like, you hear so much negative stuff in the news these days, and this is such a beautiful story how this community and people beyond the community came together to help you, which probably in turn saved you a ton of time and money to move locations.
For sure. I mean, yeah, it definitely, it was a practical help. I wasn't just asking for something that would be cutesy, but kind of meaningless. This helped immensely. And I think truly the response has been so enormous, because people just want to see happy things, and they want to feel like a faith in humanity, and that's why the response has been so huge. We've had notes and cards and emails and voicemails from Guatemala, Australia, the Netherlands, Portugal, Italy, Canada, of course, lots of places in the US. And then, friends and neighbors too. It's been crazy, but everybody said it was just so lovely to see something that was so community-based and I guess just came out of a place of kindness.
Yeah. Were you able to move all your stock in that day?
Yeah, we did. We anything. So we moved the books, but then also what you didn't see so much on the video was that in the basement, we had boxes, we had our bags and packing material and tape and all that stuff. Anything that wasn't attached to the walls, people picked up and grabbed all those boxes too. So the next day, the movers came and they moved the old bookcases for us and the big furniture, but that was all that was left.
Wow. You didn't even need boxes.
No. In fact, there was one person whose son was a huge help. I think he was about 11, and he was one of those people who was up and down the basement. And in the end, his big job was recycling all the boxes. So we had saved lots of boxes in case it rained or in case it didn't work or just because. No, his job was recycling all of those boxes because it was all done and we didn't need it. It was
Oh
great.
my gosh, I love it. Can you talk about your location where you were and where you moved? Because obviously it wasn't that far.
No. So we were on Middle Street and not far down Middle Street, maybe half a block. So we had to go up the block and then we got to Main Street and then we turned left and we went 3/4 of the block down Main Street. So now we're almost directly opposite, maybe just a little bit past the Common Grill, which lots of people locally know where that is.
Yeah, so someone can go get a meal at the Common Grill and then come check out Serendipity.
Exactly. Well, there's choices. There's also the barbecue next door too. So we just apparently in this new space spend most of our time hungry.
So the smells are free. Oh my gosh, I love it. This story is so, I don't know. It's like just brings joy to my life to think about these people doing this because you never know how or the way people will respond to something in this way.
No, and I think, lots of people, really become attached to their local bookstore. And I think, when we said that we were going to move, many people said, how can we help? What can I do? And I didn't want to just, lots of people offer help, but I really wanted to say yes and to think of something that really was going to be helpful. But I was determined to say yes, please, and then come up with something. And this way, truly, I could say yes in a way that everybody was a part of the thing and everybody made a difference. And without everybody, we couldn't have done it.
Can you talk about Serendipity and what makes it special for you and the patrons that are regulars there to get maybe some more people to come check out your little gem?
Well, so it's highly curated, which means that I pick the books, which is super fun, and I try and make it as accessible for people as possible, and I want lots of different people to be represented and seen in the books that we have on the shelves. So it's the new things, it's the trendy things, but it's some thought has gone into which ones of those trendy new things we carry. Same with the what's called evergreen books, which means that books that have been maybe published a while ago but remain important. I get to pick which ones of those you can see on the shelf. But having said that, people can order anything. So it's highly curated. But then really, I think what makes it a magical place is knowing our customers and welcoming people. So, we can say, hey, how's your dog? How's your mom? How's your kid? And, it just means that we're a part of a place, I think. And people feel safe. People open up to booksellers, like the stories they tell us. Oh my gosh, who would have thought? And I think it's because it feels like a safe space.
It's like you're the local bartender, but for people that don't have an alcohol problem.
Yes, just a book problem, which is much safer.
Oh, talk about this idea, like, people read their tablets and their devices, their Kindles and stuff, but you're like really selling physical books to hold. And personally, I prefer a book to hold. I'm not like an e-reader. I think it bothers my eyes after a while, but talk about why like having that book in your hand is special too.
Yeah, I think, it's not the bookstores are behind the times because we do have links, there are affiliates to audiobooks and
Sure.
ebooks that we provide. And there are like that is an option that people can choose to support their independent bookstores too. But there's something just so special about holding a book. And I think people are looking for authentic experiences. They want to touch the book, they want to feel the book, and we're bombarded with so many things on our phones right now. To get 10, 15, 20 minutes where you put your phone aside and there's no notifications popping up on your book. Truly, you can go into this new space. That's really precious. And it's interesting to me, the demographics of who sees that. And actually it's the younger people, truly, who are finding the treasure in that ability to just go into this other space. And that gives me hope too, because I don't think then the future is just digital, but it's because it's the younger people who want to switch off and really pick up the physical book.
That's interesting that you say that because I have a young reader. She's only been
Yeah.
reading for maybe about a year, and I've never
Hmm.
read a digital book with her ever. Like, maybe it's something on my phone, a little snidbit
Yeah.
of something, but not an actual book. And whenever
Hmm.
we go to a store that's got a book aisle or a bookstore or something, she's like, "Oh, let me go look at the books." And she always
Yes.
wants to buy a book or something. And I'm like, that's great because you are, younger that those younger kids want to be on those devices more than we do. Like I can turn mine off and be fine with not using it for a while.
Mhm.
But like for them, you like have to like physically like remove it like from their sight lines because it's like too tempting.
Yeah.
So I do think it's
Yeah.
something pretty neat that young people are interested in like physically having this book in their hands.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like a digital backlash, I think. And this story exploded because of TikTok, and it exploded because of book talk on TikTok, which is kind of a subspace where people talk about books. But it's incredibly trendy. These sort of, I don't know, 17 to 27-year-olds who just want to talk about their books, and they show their book haul from their indies, and it's all about the physical book. It's really cool.
Well, we're almost out of time, Michelle. Why don't you tell people why they should come check out Serendipity, make the trip out to Chelsea if they're from Ann Arbor, and just go check out some good eats and a nice bookshop and hang out for the afternoon, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, House is really cool. We have had so many people come and stand underneath our new sign and take pictures because we're that famous. Now they stick their head in the door and they say, "Are you that famous bookstore?" I think we're worth it. It's definitely worth a trip. Come see what all the fuss is about, and tell us about your kids and grandkids and dogs.
Yeah, and I'm sure you got plenty of great recommendations since you curate all the books.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We can talk about books for a very long time.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. This was so fun.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
For more on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/CTN. Visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to see all that we have to offer. And remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification. Thanks for watching and tune in next time to FYI.